Hey there, tireless seekers. My name is Sergey, and this video is about a web design calculator. We've recently created an online calculator that you can use for free to estimate the budget for your next web design project. I will provide the link in the description. Prior to showing you how it works, and I'm going to be sharing my screen with you and commenting as we go, I wanted to answer a few questions. First is, why would you need the calculator? Well, small business owners usually aren't that well versed in web design. And so the pricing might be a little bit confusing because you have all sorts of messages coming from different ads saying that, hey, you can use our platform to create a professional website for free, which is rarely the case. Then you have some ads that offer you a website for $200, $300 and all unique design and stuff like that, which is absolutely not true as well. Then you have freelancers doing the work for several $1,000s, and then you have agencies that charge $5, $10, $20, $30,000, and it's rather confusing. I've written an article, and I'm going to provide a link in the description as well, where I talk about all the 7 ways how you can create a website for your business, and also the pros and cons of each. The calculator that I'm going to talk about in this video will help you to figure out what goes into the calculation of the final of the total price of a web design or web redesign project as well. So why do you need it? It will help you to estimate the budget for your web design project. So the next question is, when do you need to use this calculator? Well, my suggestion is that prior to contacting vendors, you should just take a look at the calculator and see for yourself, because we're constantly adding some changes to it. By looking at the calculator, you'll be able to see what's the current state of affairs in terms of web development, because all of the most important parts that constituent parts of web design are there in that calculator. So my suggestion is, before you go and contact vendors about the current prices for web design or website redesign, I suggest you go ahead and check this calculator out. Now, who is this calculator for? Now, when we were designing this calculator, we had small businesses in mind, and we weren't thinking about bootstrapped startups. We weren't thinking about really tiny businesses like one-person business. We were thinking about established companies that had been around for 3-5 years or more. This calculator is definitely not for mom and pop shops. Most of the times, these companies understand the value of investment in marketing tools, and website is one of those marketing tools that if you don't invest in it, you're not going to be able to maximize the return. Also, there are a lot of missed opportunities. So this calculator will help you to figure out what amount of money your small business is supposed to be looking at in terms of investment into a website, which is a marketing tool. When you know what to expect in terms of the investment, you can kind of juxtapose it to your capabilities in terms of the budget. Now, how accurate is this calculator? Well, when we were designing this calculator, we were looking at the US market, and so the prices reflect the current state of affairs in United States. And so in other countries, definitely the prices will be different. And in our pipeline, we have plans for adding the rate into this calculator. So make sure to check it out later. I don't know when we're going to add it, but we're definitely planning to add the rate. So you'd be able to adjust, the costs, or rather the rates to your country. So what's not included in this calculator? Well, we haven't included certain things like logo design, for instance. We have a separate calculator for for the logo design, and I'll provide the link in the description as well. And there are other things that we haven't included in this calculator because we decided that we have to focus on the things that create the bulk of the cost or the price for the web design project. So you would see the most important parts of the pricing for a web design. So I'm going to share my screen and show you how to use this calculator. All right, so what you want to do, you want to go to awezzom.com/tools, and you'd be able to see a bunch of calculators over there. Then you're going to select the website design calculator, and this is the page where you're going to land. So here goes, the ultimate website design calculator. Now, the first part talks about the design itself. Here you can see you have three options. The first one is a free open source template. The second is a custom responsive website. The third is a design, which is a custom made design with animations, SVGs, and icons. Now, the first one is the cheapest option. Why is that? Because someone had already made a template and you can just go ahead and use it, right? So there's no customization involved. You're just gonna have exactly what's been created by someone else for someone else. Now, the second option, custom responsive website, is it's about a design for a website that's going to be custom made. So it's going to be created for scratch for you. The third option is the design with animations, SVGs, icons. So it's going to be more expensive. It's going to be the most expensive one. Because it's not going to be just the custom design, but it's also going to have a lot of animations, iconography, elements, which will kind of elevate your brand identity. Now, this part here, themes and styles, this is like when you are looking at designing a website as a business owner, you probably want to have a few options to choose from. So typically what we do is we create something like 3 options. So if you're looking at a custom responsive website and you're looking to have several options, then here's where you choose how many different styles you want to explore. The next one is mockups. Before the web designer goes ahead and creates a website for you, they're going to create mockups. These are just designs that you'd be able to look at and see whether it fits, whether you like it or not. So usually you want to have both desktop and mobile versions of those mockups. So you want to see how the website is going to look like before it is going to be created, right? So why bother spending time creating something when it's not going to be what you're expecting? So these mockups is something that's going to help you save a lot of time and money afterwards. So here in the mockups, the quantity of mockups, you're looking at how many designs you want to review. So this would mean like we want to see 10 mockups for desktop and 2 different mockups for mobile. But take into account that now here you have 3 styles, which means that for each of those styles, you're going to have 10 mockups for desktop and 10 mockups for mobile. So all in all, right here, we're looking at 3 times 10, this is 30, plus 30. So all in all, we're looking at 60 mockups at the moment. Okay. Now, pages is how many pages are going to be created, not mockups, but actual pages. So usually it's about 10. Next, wireframes. Now, wireframes is the thing that if you're building something big, let's say, and you also have a lot of people in the room making decisions. So you probably want to have wireframes, and usually we create wireframes for mobile version. Wireframes, they're going to show what happens. So they're like a skeleton. It's not, the actual website, but you're going to be able to see where elements are going to be present on the page and what happens when you click um, on the item, how scrolling is happening, how transitions are happening. So wireframes is an additional option for you to kind of check on whether you like the process or not, and based on what you see, you'd be able to make changes so that when the actual work on the website begins, you won't have to do a lot of redos. Now, quantity, it's similar to those mockups. So how many pages you want to create those wireframes. So we have 10 pages. Let's say we want to have 10 wireframes. Now the content. The content is what are you expecting to have on those web pages, on those 10 web pages. So we had 10, let's say we're going to have 10 pages with a copy. And copy is not something that like you put a random text in it. It's research based. Next, images. Now, images, you have to be aware that you can't just take any image that you find on the web. Well, first of all, it's not going to look professional. But then if your website gets traction or someone notices that you're using images that were not licensed, then you're going to be in trouble. So either use licensed stock images, hire a professional photographer, or just provide your own images. The same thing goes for video as well. Now, the platform that you're going to choose for your website also plays a big part in the pricing. So your options are, open source, online web builder, or a custom framework like Laravel, for instance. Open source. Now, WordPress, let's say, is a good option because you have all the files in your possession. So that's a good idea to use an open source. With online web builder, the problem is that there's going to be a lot of limitations. So if you're looking at something better than the average, let's say, then online web builder is not going to work for you. Well, my suggestion is to use a custom framework like Laravel, for instance, because it gives you the maximum control over your website. And in terms of security, it's going to be a lot better than the open source. Because the open source is, well, open source. The security is not on par with a custom framework-based web application. Content management system. So if you're looking at, let's say, open source, then you would want to combine these two, because usually WordPress, for instance, provides you with a content management system. It is a content management system. And the content management system is a way for you to add images, put some tags, and change your pages all through the admin panel. So if you are sure you want to do that, then go ahead and do that. The problem with the content management system is who is going to manage it. So if the person who is going to be in charge of managing your website is not very good at managing websites, is not a web designer or web developer, then you're going to have a lot of all sorts of problems on your website. And one of those is, the way it's going to look is going to be very different from what
an agency is going to provide you with. So usually when someone who's not professional, who's not proficient with web design, web development, comes in and starts to add pages or changes elements, things just start to fall apart. So you should just be aware of that. But it's an option, and a lot of companies use this combination: open source software with open source content management system, which is basically WordPress. And I think the statistics is something like 30% of websites on the web are powered by WordPress. So next, SEO. Yeah, well, search engine optimization is a big topic. The main idea behind search engine optimization is, if it's done right, you're gonna experience free traffic to your website, which you'd be able to convert into paying customers. So SEO is something that you should think about, and depending on your business model, well, I would suggest doing a thorough SEO done once, but then in 6 months or so, just review what's happening with your keywords, how you're ranking, and then make a decision whether or not to invest in search engine optimization. And since we have 10 pages, let's add 10 in here. Now, social media marketing. Usually companies want to integrate something like standard things, widgets, embeddings, Facebook, Twitter. I'd suggest to do that as well. So when someone shares a page, it'll be easier for them to do that. So you'd be able to control what is being shared, like the title, the image of a page. Okay, so you kind of disallow random sharing. You sort of provide your users to share what you want them to share. So if they're sharing a page, like a product page or service page, you'd be able to have a specific image with a specific title for the platform, let's say for Twitter or for Instagram or somewhere else. Again, you probably want to have the same 10 pages. Oh no, sorry. This is not how many social channels. Yeah, it's about channels. So usually it's Twitter, what else? Instagram, LinkedIn, 3 channels maybe. Size and scale. Well, now this thing is about database and infrastructure. Usually this is the option, the default open source software with database. But it all depends on your business objectives and what do you want to do. So let's say if you're running an operation where you want to optimize a lot of business processes, when you want to automate a lot of things, then you're probably looking at something like this, a custom small e-commerce size database. And it's not necessarily e-commerce. It's about what are you planning to do, how are you planning to use your website to improve the performance of your team, streamline your business processes, things like that. And in terms of infrastructure, it's all about the number of users that you're expecting on a daily basis. So if you're a video streaming service, for instance, then you're going to have a lot of data transfer, which means that you should have bigger servers or more servers and more capable servers. But in the case of a small business where you have 100 visitors per day, maybe 1,000 visitors per day. So you're looking at this option, the first option. So the more visitors you have per day, the more resources they're downloading from your servers, the bigger, the better the infrastructure should be, and it's going to cost more money, obviously. And the last one is deadline. So if you need it done yesterday, you're going to expect to pay a lot more money. If you need to get it done faster, then expect to pay more. But if you're not in a rush and you just want to make sure that everything is done on time, then this is the option that you want to choose. Now let's calculate and see what happens. Okay, so you're looking at $14,500. All right, so you have these nice buttons here that you can share with other people, which is good, and I suggest you do that. You can sign up, and well, that's about it. I suggest you go ahead and pay a visit to this web design calculator and see for yourself how it works. And I'd love to get some feedback from you.
So that's about all that I wanted to say about the web design calculator that we've developed for you, small business owners, that you can use for free online on our website, awezzom.com. I'd like to know, what do you think about it? If you like this video, put a like. If you don't like this video, don't. If you want to subscribe, subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye. Oh, and make sure to check out my LinkedIn. I'm going to provide a link to it as well. And I have an Instagram as well. So make sure to check it out. Bye.